Listen, don't settle. Don't settle for a boring life. Don't let them write you off. You can take action and join the elite. When you connect to your God force, when you begin to live in congruence and integrity, when all aspects of your divine anatomy are in alignment, when you are no longer your own worst enemy, you can take action and you can join the elite. You can join the new earth. Now, essentially, these aren't so much secrets. I think folk wisdom, what your mom and daddy perhaps taught you if you grew up in a certain way about don't say nothing. If you can't say nothing nice at all, don't say nothing if you can't say anything good, these types of wisdoms. But essentially, living in congruence with your values and realizing the power of your thoughts and thoughts as energy, this will change your entire reality. And now going back to this concept of a universal laboratory, where I had made a video that involved the 12 universal laws, and basically trying to communicate the concept of living in accordance, in resonance with these universal laws. You have a natural grace that comes to fruition in your life effortlessly. When you are living in congruence with those cosmic laws, you're not your own worst enemy. You have a natural grace that permeates your entire life. And as imagination and visualization are the thought forms of the new earth, of the fifth dimension, you have a glowing corridor, a sphere of golden radiant effulgence that surrounds you at all times. And by eliminating any sort of obstacles or roadblocks or throttle points, if you will, as far as communication with the divine, your higher self, however you want to call that, because it is all ultimately your values. When you are in congruence with your own values. Now, I'll share this about my life. For the longest time, I had digestive issues. I had issues with, eating certain kinds of food and then not settling right on my stomach, but it was kind of like a general sort of digestive issue with my stomach. And it really comes down to this. I was too clever for my own good, and oftentimes I was not living with in accordance, in resonance with those universal values. I always kind of had a little angle about certain things, and my stomach would bother me. That was my body telling me, hey, you're not in congruence. But see, all that, once I went through my initiation, once my Kundalini activation took place, that was a very mystical and very powerful experience. And I will share this one tidbit from that experience. It involved getting right with what is called the dweller on the threshold, which is part of the initiation into the higher realms of spiritual realms. But part of that was coming into face to face with my own dark nature, my own shadow, the way I had been living, and how it was not in accordance with really my God mind. And all that must be put in accordance, into accordance, the straight path. When you set your intentions to accumulate light, to grow in the light, when you set your intentions to connect with your God power, then you will be living in accordance with, and you will seek the straight path, because the straight path, also known as the Noble Eightfold Path, in the Buddhist tradition, and getting back to this concept of a sphere of golden radiance about you as grace, as God's grace manifesting in your life, there is a way to live in accordance with your values. Now, and I've taken the liberty to put these here: right view, right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness. And now these first 7 concepts all are basically pillars for right concentration. Right concentration, which can be viewed as right intention. And see, now, and I'm not going to, and Buddhism is brilliant with this, but they don't attempt to dictate what the right view is, the right speech, right action is for every person. This is all in accordance with your quantum justice. Each person is their own, your higher self. If you're simply living in this harmonic universe number 1 without any connection to your higher self, you're going to be living a disastrous life, because your own higher self is going to be judging your actions. So this is all very personal, and this is right view, right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness. All are pillars for right concentration, because where your concentration, where your thoughts go, there your energy flows. And when you bring it all into congruence, you're no longer your own worst enemy, and you're walking the noble eightfold path. And just briefly, right view is basically to remember that our actions have consequences, because karma does exist. There's many different definitions of it, but keep in mind it's as simple as this: that your actions have consequences. We benefit from living in a way that minimizes harm. And this is the basis of the 4 noble truths, but all of these have different permutations and nuances to them. But essentially, this is living in such a way that you get all the clutter out of the way, and you're living in alignment with your higher self and your soul path, and it's all basically the universe is at that point is behind you. You have full sail. The wind is at your back. It's an Irish blessing that says, may the wind always be at your back, and may you reach heaven in a half hour before the devil knows you're dead. But anyway, this is the basis, right view. Our own actions can prevent future unnecessary pain. If we truly believe this and practice right view, we would be far more mindful of every act of body, speech, and mind. Right intention is the commitment to foster this moment-to-moment mindfulness of thought. Speaking and acting in beneficial ways begins with a calm, present, and stable state of mind. Right intention is also the practice clarifying our why. We intend to follow the Eightfold Path not to benefit the illusory separate self of the narcissistic ego, but to do so in the service of love and compassion, which essentially is service to self. Because when you're living in this noble Eightfold Path and in resonance with the 12 universal laws, man, the universe is your ally. God is your ally. You're unstoppable as far as what your soul path is. Okay? So ironically, service to others is service to self, because we're all one. Woo! Now, right speech, right view, and noble intention guides us to cease speaking in harmful ways. We refrain from lying and do our best to communicate clearly. We avoid speaking in ways that are divisive. We refrain from harsh or abusive speech and avoid idle speech, remaining silent unless we have something useful to say. Yeah, don't say anything. Don't say nothing at all if you can't say nothing nice. I think that's how it was. But I had to learn that the hard way. So, right action is to cease harming others. When you understand that we all have indwelling within us the God spark, the God force, when you harm another, you're harming yourself. It's a quantum fact, ladies and gentlemen. We're all quantum entangled in one grand unified field of consciousness. Think about that. Ponder that. Grok that. Assimilate that. Make that your very essence. That is very important. And we refrain from killing other living beings, stealing, or harming others with our sexual behavior. Instead, we actively support life, practicing giving and respect the relationships and boundaries of others. All right? Right livelihood. Most of us spend a large portion of our lives in pursuit of livelihood. Right livelihood is the commitment to ethical business practice. Traditionally, this meant not earning a living by selling weapons, other people, meat, alcohol, or poison. If our role at work entails cheating, deceiving, being dishonest, or behaving in harmful ways, we're not practicing right livelihood. Right effort addresses the qualities of mind we must cultivate to remain vigilant along the path to the New Earth Golden Age timeline. It's not enough to stop behaving in harmful or unhelpful ways. Instead, we should persistently nurture skillful, beneficial behaviors. This includes being mindful of the classic 5 hindrances and actively working to overcome them. The obstacles to meditation are summarized into 2: agitation and dullness. Right effort is finding a balance between these 2 extremes. Now, I could go into what the 5 hindrances are, but that could be a very subjective thing for each person. But your higher self knows, and when you have eliminated the hindrances, you are in a perfect state of alignment. I don't suffer from digestive problems anymore. In fact, the Kundalini force, the God force, the radiant effulgence within, the vril, the chi, the prana, the ki, the organ, the mesmeric force, that when that it floods through your body, and when you are then as part of that experience, all falseness, all of crookedness, living crookedly, is burnt out of you. That is part of that massive transition and part of that, I don't know if I fully kept up with or completed the thought of the dweller on the threshold, but part of that experience was making my oath because I was born again and I knew what had led me to a certain point on the path, but being shown my own shadow and where that had been my own worst enemy, I made my oath about how my life was to be lived. And if I should ever deviate from that oath or that path, then God take me and destroy me into the circle of Abaddon. Well, not that dramatically, but anyway, you get the point. But anyway, right effort. So we must remain vigilant along the path. That's what I'm talking about. When you get your energy together in congruence and you make your oath, then you will be vigilant. So it's not enough to stop behaving in harmful or unhelpful ways. We should persistently nurture skillful, beneficial behaviors. And so, like I was saying, the 5 hindrances, by me, not routinely, casually being comfortable with, telling lies and other sort of deceitful, duplicitous behavior, all that was burnt away. And so thus my health issues went away as well. The only sort of thing hindering, I guess I enjoy a nice cup of coffee, Folgers, and adequately heated. So by training in right mindfulness, we avoid slipping into the habitual behaviors that cause harm. And part of that is breathing, learning how to mindfully observe your breath. Breathing is very powerful. It's very powerful, as is mudras, practicing your hand. All of these different hand combinations and finger combinations activate different parts of your light body. So, but anyway, right concentration, all 7 of those previous facets of the Eightfold Path are basically the pillars of right concentration, right intention. Having applied right effort and trained in mindfulness, we enter in a state of right concentration. In this state, we have successfully withdrawn from the distractions which keep us in an unskillful and unbeneficial state of mind. We rest. We are in radiant effulgence. We are surrounded by the golden radiance, the golden quantum force field of God's grace. And single-pointedly, we are on our path. We are vigilant to the 5 hindrances. We are vigilant to our oaths that we have made in a state of walking awareness, a walking meditation, of a 24/7 meditation. You are in control of yourself at all times. Your ego is your tool. And in this state, we experience the bliss that arises having freed ourselves from our pain. Because the Buddha taught, if anything, he taught that life is suffering. And it has it is illusion, but the way out of that illusion, the way out of that suffering, is living in accordance and resonance with the 12 universal laws, and having the understanding of the Noble Eightfold Path. And keep in mind, this is not to dictate anybody's value system, because your own higher self is your own quantum judge. All right. And so if you're not living in accordance with what your higher self has been sent here to achieve, some people call it the soul contract. But, keep in mind, don't get caught up on the words or the form, and always be focused on the meaning behind all of this. And essentially, the meaning behind the Noble Eightfold Path is to further establish your quantum force field of God's radiant effulgence within your own soul walk, within your own soul path to the on the golden age timeline to the new earth. And I hope this has been helpful. Please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, as it helps to reach. The message is promulgated and manipulated or amplified and sent out. With the more the algorithms are pleased to. So anyway, but stay tuned, because we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of establishing and amplifying the God force, the radiant effulgence within.
Namaste, namaskaram.